In today's video, we're going to be installing a simple, strong, and perfectly level shelf and closet pole with a cleat system here that's going to have plenty of storage for this closet. It's strong and absolutely sturdy, and it's done with pretty inexpensive materials, and this could be done in just about roughly a half an hour. All right, let's get started. So this is a real simple DIY thing. Anybody can do this, and you can create a lot of extra space for your clothes in your closet. It's a simple way to do it. You can see with this closet we have these sliding doors on the track, and the reason I didn't put in the brackets on the floor yet after I did these brand new floors, the reason I didn't put those brackets there to hold these doors from swaying is because I know I have to paint these doors, and I'm gonna have to get in there to do this shelving unit, so it's easier for me to leave those off so I can remove these doors. So the first thing we need to do is take the doors off. When you have sliding doors like this, the way you get them off, a lot of people really don't know, they have wheels on them on a track. So you just tilt it forward like this, you lift it up just like that, and then you can see the wheels come off the track, and then you tilt it forward, and you bring the door right off the track. Then we'll take the door and we'll put it off to the side. And once again, same thing on the back track. Lift it right off, keep it tilted forward, bring it out, and then push it off to the side. Next thing you're going to do is look inside that closet, and you're going to take a little notepad so that you can make your measurements. I'm going to get you in a little bit closer so you can see where I'm going to measure, and I'm going to give you the measurements that are standard in the industry to do this. Okay, so really no matter how I get an angle to try to film this, I can't get you inside here seeing both of the walls at the same time. So just understand that when I'm measuring this side to side, I'm hitting the corner of each side of the closet. I want you guys to see that, because you're only going to see in this corner over here. If I turn the camera a little bit more, this is still going to block the lens. So not a big deal. I'm going to show you an easy way to measure between the walls rather than try to fumble with a tape measure and do it like this, and then if it's, you can't reach, then you're pulling the tape out like this, and then you hit the corner here like this, and then you try to get an accurate measurement in the corner, and you really can't read exactly where the tape is in that corner, because the tape doesn't bend in a 90 degree. It's gonna be rounded when you hit that corner. So you kind of have to guesstimate the 16th or the 1/8 of an inch or the even number that it's gonna land on. I'm gonna show you a really simple technique to do that right now. Now, I'm pretty sure I've shown this a few times before in my other videos, but some of you may be new to the channel and you didn't see those videos. So when you're measuring between two walls, the easiest and most accurate way to do it is to hit your mark where you're going to put your cleats for the shelf, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is make a mark from the floor up. I want the bottom of my 3.5 inch cleat to sit at 64 inches, and that's 5 feet 4 inches, and that's just an industry standard. If you wanted to, you can make it more, you can make it less. It's really how you're comfortable, but 5'4" is a good reachable height for the pole and the top of the shelf for just about a majority of the people out there. So first thing I'm going to do is take a measurement just roughly somewhere in the center. I'm going to make a mark at 64 inches. Right there's my mark, 64 inches. So now I got my height. So now I know where the shelf is going to sit and where the cleat is going to sit also. So now, instead of trying to hit that corner and get a measurement, let's do some easy math right here. Take a common number, nice, easy to remember number like 40. Make a mark right there. So I'm going to write there 40. And it's going to be all covered up by the cleat anyway. Now remember, you got 40 inches there. Simple math, guys. We're going to take it, we're going to hit the corner right there, and then we're going to come up to our mark that we made, and I have 36 and 7/8. Write that down, 36 and 7/8. So now I know that the inside measurement there is going to be 76 and 7/8. It's common math, very simple. Even if you needed a calculator to do it, at least you won't need a fraction calculator to do it, okay? You can do it with a regular calculator, because it's, all you have to do is add that 7/8 at the end. So if you have 40 and 36, you know that's 76, but then you have 7/8, you just add that in, 76 and 7/8. That's simple, guys. All right, so now we got our measurements on the back wall for the cleat and that will also serve as the measurement for the length of your shelf. So now you have two measurements in one. So go ahead and write that down on the paper. So we have the 76 and 7/8 for the shelf and back cleat. Okay, so the cleat is going to run from corner to corner, and it's going to hit those studs, and that's where we're going to secure it to. Now, let's see, you can see this corner here. Now, we know that we have a stud here in the corner, okay? That's a guarantee. More than likely, there's going to be nothing in here, and so this is a short distance of about 24 inches. So, yeah, it's 28.5 inches. So 28.5 inches, they're going to have another stud in the corner here, but they're not going to put anything here in the center. But I'll show you here, and that stud in the corner right there, hollow all the way through until I get to the other corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from this corner to this corner, and then we're going to secure it into the studs in both of those corners and the studs in both of those corners. So this way we know we have everything secured into a stud and it's anchored well. Nothing's ever going to fall from any kind of extra weight put on that shelf. Let's just take a quick measurement there. We can do the same thing. We can take a roundabout number like 20, and we can mark that. That's 20. And they come to from this corner here, and I have 8 and 13/16. So I have 28 and 13/16. 28 and 13/16. I'm going to write that down. Okay, so we got our measurements and we're all done, right? We're ready to cut? Wrong. This is where a lot of people make the mistake and forget one crucial step. And it's a simple step, but if you don't know any better, you're not going to think of it, you're going to overlook it, and you're going to cut your pieces too long. So you see how I got my measurement in here from corner to corner? Well, that's perfectly fine. I got my measurement, right? What you didn't account for was the 3/4 inch piece of cleat that's going to be along this back wall. That's going to make your cleat on the sides 3/4 of an inch smaller. So rather than do the math and say 28 and 13/16 minus 3/4 of an inch, what you can do is you can just do the same method that I showed you before. Put your scrap block in the corner. Make sure it's the same material that you are cutting. This is a cut off of the end that I squared up the board with. So cut a small piece up, square the board off with your miter saw, and take it, bring it into the corner just like this where it's going to sit. And then you can push your tape up against it and make your mark at 20, just like that. And now you can throw it on the floor, turn the tape around, and now I have 8 and 1/16. So now I know that my actual measurement is 28 and 1/16, not 13/16. So you get that? Super simple, something that you need to do. If you want to go ahead and do the math and minus that 3/4 of an inch, you could do that. This is the simple way to do it. Put a piece of block in the corner that you're going to be using as the back cleat. Same material that you're using. That's 3/4 of an inch. That will subtract from there much easier. You won't have to do any extra math. All right, so now we can go and start cutting the pieces. Okay, so you can see I'm set up here in the sitting room of my new house. This is going to be the last room that I renovate. So, yeah, I know, red walls. Don't even get me started. All right, so we're going to start cutting the pieces, and then we're going to bring everything upstairs and start installing them. So I'm going to go off of my cut list, which I have right here. Keep that right on top of my dust extractor and make the cuts on the miter saw. So now the first thing you want to do is make sure that you square off one end of the material that you're going to cut. Never start with a factory edge because they're very rarely ever square. Looking at my cut list, 76 and 7/8, that's going to be the back cleat that we're going to cut. Okay. So that's the edge we just cut. That's where we're measuring off of. Okay, so here's a quick tip now. You got your piece cut. This is for your back cleat. Measure your scrap and see what you got. Now that is too short for our side cleats, but it may be, depending on the size of your closet, this may be perfect for a side cleat. So make sure you keep your scraps. Also, we're going to need not only the top cleat there for the shelf, but we're also going to need a bottom cleat for the bracket underneath the shelf, something that's going to screw the bracket into after you nail that into the wall. And I have some scraps from another closet that I finished already. This scrap is going to serve as that center cleat for the bracket. You'll know what I'm talking about as soon as we get up there. Now let's cut our side cleats, go back up and install everything. Okay, so now we're going to mount this in the closet. Here is my back wall cleat. I'm using a 15 gauge finish nailer. That's a heavy duty nail. It's heavier than an 18 gauge brad nail. I like to use 18 gauge brad nails for moldings more because they don't split the wood as much, and they have holding power, don't get me wrong, but a 15 gauge has much more holding power. And I use that for things like door jambs and cleats and things like that. So a couple of things you're going to need. Number one, the hook for your nail gun. Hook it on your pocket. This way your hands are free. Another thing that we're going to need is a level. So I have this stud finder here. It's a magnetic stud finder. That's where we're going to try to nail the cleat in the corner first, and bring the level up, and then we're going to nail it through the stud. So there's a process here. So I have my line marked on the wall where I want this thing to be, the height that I want it to be. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to that line. I don't need the level quite yet. I'm going to bring it to the line, just like that. That's exactly where I want it, that line right there. Okay, that's perfect. Now at this point, you can put the level up there just like this. I'm holding it in place. Now I see it needs to go down on this side a little bit. Right there, perfectly level, and it's on my line. That's exactly where I want it. So now at this stage of the game, what I'm going to do is I have it in the corner. I'm going to shoot 2 nails right into the corner stud. Okay, now I still have my level up here, and now I have my stud located right here. I'm just going to shoot 2 nails there. We can go back and fill those later with a little putty. So now I'll just move this around. Okay, right there. There should be a stud somewhere in the middle here. There we go, right there. Okay, so now you're level, you're in the studs, get back into this corner right here and right into the corner studs. Now, I should have a stud somewhere here. And we do right there. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Now if you want, you can leave your level up there, but at this point you don't need to. What you are going to need, shorter level for the corner pieces. Now remember when you saw me cutting these and I wrote down on the back, that was the measurement and the side that it's going on. So this particular one is the right side. So now I know that that's going to go in here on the right side, just like this, and that fits perfect. Put my level on there, 1 nail in the corner right there. All right, that's level. I'm going to shoot it into the stud in this corner right here. Now remember, I have nothing in the center, but I can still cross pinch with these nails. Okay, so now onto this side. I have my piece. Put it in there just like that, fits perfect. Okay, so now I got that piece on. Hold it in place like that. Throw your level up there. Right there. Right into the stud. And then 1 to pinch. And that's it. Perfectly level all the way around. Okay, so for my center cleat for the bracket, I want it in the center as close as possible to the middle. I know that in the center here, because my center is going to be roughly about 38 inches, because we were like 76 and change on the length. here. So we're looking at like 38 and change is the center. You don't have to be really exact, but just get close enough. If you're close enough centered here, first of all, nobody's even going to get to know, because you're going to have those sliding closet doors back on there. So those are going to be blocking the center completely. So we were saying that roughly about 38 inches. And that is right here. So that's roughly my center mark right there. So now what we'll do is take my center cleat that's going to hold the bracket. And you make a mark in the center here of your cleat so that you can line it up. And then you can shoot your nails in just like that. Now we're going to work on throwing the shelf on the top, screwing the shelf down, and then we will put the bracket in that's going to support the shelf, and then we're going to install the pole. Melamine is quite heavy. It's made of particle board, so be careful when you're lifting it. Get it in there on an angle to pass your cleat. Get it into one corner like that, sitting on the cleat, and there we go. Perfect, right in there. And now what we'll do is, we got the shelf on there, just throw your level back up there, double check everything, and that is spot on, absolutely perfect. So now what I'm going to do is go around the perimeter and put screws through there and screw it into this cleat. Okay, so now when I'm working with any kind of plywood, melamine, whatnot, I like to use these self-tapping screws, and these are from GRK, and they have this conical type bugled head on them that has these little ripples, and they have a self-tapping thread on them, and they literally pre-drill for you. And I really haven't had any problem with these splitting anything out. So when I put cabinets together and these screws are going to be hidden, I drive these right in without pre-drilling. So normally you would have to count your sink and everything. These are great for that. When I screw this down into the cleat, the first thing I want to do is start from the middle and work my way outward, because even though melamine is quite flat, sometimes you get a little variation in the board that you're putting up there as a cleat, and that can cause the piece to have to be pushed down like that as you go. So I like to work my way out and flatten it out as I go. So I'm just going to put one up here in the center and start working my way around the edges. Okay, so now I got the whole box of screws up here with me. You can see what I'm doing. So like I said, I like to work my way from the center out. So now I'm just going to stay off the edge, roughly about 3/8 of an inch. This way it's going to ensure that I'm drilling into the cleat. Okay, nice and clean. And let's start working our way side to side. I'm putting these about 8 inches apart. Really don't need them any closer than that. Okay, that's good, perfect. I'm just going to put one on the edge right here, hold that in place, and then I'll continue to the other side, and then we'll start getting the pole involved here. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have everything in place, we need to get this bracket on here. This will hold the pole in the center and support the pole so it doesn't bend over time with a lot of clothes on there. And this part here in the center will support the shelf and help stop that from sagging. Now, to get that bracket screwed into the shelf, you need some short screws. I'm using 3/4 inch cabinet screws, and that will allow me to put this in without screwing through the top and coming out the other side. And I'm going to take a drill and I'm going to pre-drill the hole just to make it easier for me to install it. Get that started. Just like that. And now, I'll switch over to the same screw. You can get these in white, by the way, but I'm going to be touching all this up anyway, so I'll just touch these up with the white paint. Now I'll switch over to the 1 1/4 and put those right into this here. Tighten those up. All it held in place with this bracket right here, like my little helper. And now I have a screw loaded on my driver. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of position it in place here, right? But the first thing I really need to do before I start screwing this in place is I need to put the level on there so that I can see where I'm at. And right there is dead level. So without moving anything, I'm going to hold it in place just the way I have it. I'm going to drive a screw into the bracket. Okay. This just makes it a lot easier because it's kind of like doing it hands-free. Just periodically keep checking. And you can see that I'm still dead on with the level. So I'm good to go, and I'm going to install the rest of these. Okay, one more in there. Now I'm going to turn your attention to this side over here. And so now we're going to do the same thing on this side with the U-bracket. This will slide right underneath. Now the other side was completely closed in, so you can't do that. You have to put it on first because the pole is completely encompassed inside of that part of the bracket. So now this side here, what I'm going to do is I'll just slip it over it just like this, but I still want to maintain being level. So I'm going to put it on there, get it in place, drop the level on there, and that's perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. And now I'm going to just secure it in place with the screws. Okay, now that you have one in, it's just easy to install the other two. You just take your time, you'll have no problem. And that's it. Nice and strong. It's not going anywhere. And go back and double check. Now you have a level closet pole and a perfectly level shelf, and everything is secured. And you can go back if you want to. You have these locations marked out now from the nail holes. You can go back and you can install a 2.5-inch screw all the way there into the stud if you feel it's necessary. This shelf's not going to be taking a lot of weight. It's going to hold mostly sweatshirts, and then the pole itself is screwed into those cleats, was also nailed into the studs. That's not going to be taking a lot of weight, but if you pull on it, you can see it actually is very strong. So this is a tried and true system, and it's very simple to do. Okay guys, so that's it. Just a little bit of white wood putty on here, and then you can use a little molding or trim paint, whatever you want to call it. I use a semi-gloss on that. We could touch that all up, but I'm probably going to do that later on because I have other closets that I have to do. So this way I can just paint one time. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. You can see everything's perfectly level. This is such an easy project to do, and you can do this in just about a half an hour if you just follow the steps that I showed you. Make sure you get all your materials up front so that you have everything ready to go. This way you can cut everything in one shot, install everything in one shot, and then be done, walk away, get to the next closet. This is a tried and true system. Everybody's doing simple things like this. Not only can you hang your clothes along this whole length of the pole, but you can put sweatshirts and bags and things like that up here and stuff, even shoes and whatnot. A good system, definitely easy install. This is a very DIY friendly project, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have a ton of other videos coming out. This is a complete renovation on this house where it's almost like a total gut job so far, and I'm filming everything along the way. I have plenty of molding and trim videos to come. As you can see, the closets, I ripped off all the trim before we painted. I hope you guys enjoyed the video that I did before with the flooring, and now we have to trim out all of these rooms that we painted and redid the floors. Today is Thursday, February 8th. Tomorrow, February 9th, Friday, they're starting to build my workshop. That's going to be a really fun project. I wish that I was building it, but because of permits and whatnot, it's just easier to have a professional builder get all the permits and have the contractor come out and just do everything in one shot. They told me they can do it in about 5 weeks, and then I'm going to have a big, beautiful workshop to work in. So stay tuned for that. I'll try to get some video footage and some maybe some photos and things like that so that I can post to keep you guys posted along the way. But once it's done, we got to load up that shop. We have to put all the tools in there. We got to set up the shop, and then we got to start building things again. So I have a lot of things to do. So I hope you guys will stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. hit that picture of a notification bell, and also don't forget to hit the thumbs up, give it a like if you like the video, you got something out of it that was useful for you. Also, don't forget to check the description box below, and I'll post links for all the tools that I use in all of my videos. All right, guys, hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next time.